It was a cold day in a city like London. Fatima sat in a small apartment, looking out the window. Her eyes were fixed on the distance. The wind carried the scent of rain, mixed with the chill of mist. But Fatima was unfazed. In that wind, she smelled a new life of hope. A life she had waited for years. She placed her hand on her pregnant belly and slowly closed her eyes. A journey of pain and hope flashed through her mind. She had yearned to be a mother for a long time. But for 10 years, she and her husband Imran hadn't been able to fulfill that dream. They had seen many doctors and hospitals, and just as they felt hopeless, a glimmer of hope sprouted within her like a mercy from God. At that moment, Imran was sitting beside her, sipping hot tea. With immense pride, he looked at her tired face. With a smile, he said, "You know, in a few days, our son will be in our arms. We'll hear his laughter for the first time." Fatima smiled, her eyes welling up with tears. "I can't believe it. I never thought this dream would come true so soon. I was afraid I would die without knowing my son's love. But God didn't abandon me." Imran placed his hand on her belly and said, "This child isn't just a baby. He's the victory of all the pain we endured. I promise you, he will be the happiest child in England." Hearing Imran's words, she smiled softly. But along with the joy, she also felt a small fear. She didn't know why. Perhaps it was a premonition a mother feels before a tragedy. That night, she arranged the clothes she had bought for the baby in his room. She picked up a small blue dress. "My child, I've waited for you for years. I fought the world for you. Please come without straying from my heart. I want to see you alive. I want to hear this house filled with your laughter." Meanwhile, outside, Imran stood on the apartment's balcony. Looking at the London sky, he prayed, "God, let this night be the beginning of all goodness. Protect my wife and child. Don't take away this happiness we've waited for so long." That night was calm. But the mother's heart was beating very fast. She felt something was coming for them. She didn't know that what awaited her at the hospital was a terrible truth that would shatter her dreams. It was the beginning of a story that would change her life forever. As morning light began to break, she felt a pain in her belly like the waves of the sea. She screamed. She didn't want to wake the sleeping Imran, but her father's heart couldn't bear it. Imran quickly woke up. "Fatima, has the pain started?" She nodded with difficulty. "Yes, I think it's time." Imran got up quickly and called an ambulance. This moment, which they had waited for years, had finally arrived. They reached a big hospital in London. The nurses put her in a wheelchair and took her to the maternity ward. The doctors told her to prepare for delivery. She cried out in pain. But in her mind there was only the face of her baby. After a long struggle, a silence filled the maternity ward. There was no sound of a baby crying. The doctor looked at the mother's face with disappointment. Then the doctor nodded sadly to the nurse. At that moment, the mother's heart filled with pain. The doctor said, "We are sorry. The baby was not breathing." These words were like a knife passing through her heart. She cried out, reaching out her hands to touch the baby. But the doctors didn't allow it. Outside, Imran heard her screams. He knocked on the door of the room. "What's happening?" "I want to see my baby." But no one opened the door. Inside the room, she grieved the loss of her life's purpose. She couldn't bear the sounds of the room and the smell of medicines. The last sentence the doctor said kept echoing in her ears. "The baby wasn't breathing. The baby is dead." She wept, placing her trembling hands on her belly. "No, don't say that. I heard his heartbeat yesterday. He was moving in my belly. How did he die? I didn't even get to see him," she said, crying. The nurse tried to console her, but she pushed the nurse away. "I want to see my baby. I want to touch him. Don't take him away from me." Outside the room, Imran kept knocking on the door like a madman. Finally, the doctor came out of the room. He looked at Imran with sadness and said, "We tried our best. But the baby was not breathing. We tried to save him, but he didn't make it." Imran froze. In a trembling voice, he cried out, "This can't be happening. How can our baby, whom we waited for years, die?" The doctor tried to console him. But Imran pushed the doctor away and rushed into the room. Inside the room, he saw his wife, weakened by pain. He hugged her and comforted her. She shook her head in despair. "I don't want anything. I just want my baby." Even if he's dead, I want to hug him. The doctor said, we'll bring him for you to see him one last time. Imran said in a firm voice, bring him quickly, he hasn't left us. A few minutes later, a nurse brought the baby wrapped in a white blanket. The baby's body lay still and lifeless. The nurse placed the baby in the mother's arms. She hugged the baby tightly and cried loudly. The scream echoed throughout the hospital. Imran stroked the baby's head. My child, you came to this world and left without letting us hear a thing. But we loved you so much even before you were born. At that moment, no one thought this was not the end of the story but the beginning. What this baby did 4 hours later shocked everyone at the hospital. The doctors asked the mother to hand over the baby's body for medical procedures. But the mother was not ready to let go of the baby from her arms. No, I won't give him up from my arms. I won't allow him to be buried without feeling a real mother's love even for a moment. The doctor tried to make her understand gently. Madam, we understand your pain. But the baby is dead, you can't keep him outside. The mother held the doctor's hands. Please, let me hold him. Let him feel my love. Just for 4 hours. The doctor stood silent for a moment, looking at the nurse and the crying Imran. Then he said, okay, but you must stay in this room, and we will watch you from outside. She hugged the baby to her chest and kissed his cheek. She whispered to him lovingly, I am your mother. Listen to me. I have waited for you for many years. You must not leave me now. Imran sat beside her, wiping away her tears. The minutes passed slowly. In every moment, the mother's heart ached. 1 hour passed, then 2 hours, then 3. The baby lay still. After 4 hours, just before sunrise, something nobody expected happened. As she cried with her face on the baby's head, she felt something move under her hand. She raised her head in shock. The baby's fingers moved slowly. A faint cry came out. It was like life returning from death. She screamed, Imran, Imran, he's moving, he's alive. The doctors and nurses rushed into the room. The baby, who was declared dead, started breathing again in the mother's arms. The room filled with joy. The doctors examined the baby using breathing support equipment. The sight was like a rebirth. A few moments ago, the mother was drowned in grief. Now, she was holding her baby. She sobbed, he came back to me. God, you heard my prayers. My child came back to me. The doctor said in shock, this is scientifically impossible. 4 hours ago we removed all the medical equipment. But look, he's breathing. The nurse placed a stethoscope on the baby's chest. She was shocked. The heartbeat is faint, but it's there. He's alive. The doctors asked the mother to place the baby on the table. But she held the baby tightly. No, I won't let him go even for a moment. He came back because he could feel my love. Don't take him away from me. Imran slowly placed his hand on her shoulder. My dear, let the doctors help him, we'll be with him. But we must give him a chance to live. She hesitated for a moment, then kissed the baby's forehead and handed him over to the doctors. The doctors shifted him to the NICU. A few minutes later, the doctor came out smiling. I don't know how to explain this, but I can tell you one thing. Your baby's alive. If his heartbeat continues this way, he will lead a normal life. She hugged Imran and cried. Everyone in the hospital talked about that miracle. They said this mother gave her child life with her love. But the real struggle was just beginning. The news of the miracle spread fast in the hospital. It spread like wildfire on social media. The headlines of online newspapers in England read, Mother's love gives life to dead baby after 4 hours. Outside the hospital, people waited to see the baby. Some cried and brought flowers and notes. The next day, television cameras came to the hospital. A reporter said, in this hospital in London, a mother held her dead baby for 4 hours and he finally returned to life. At that time, the mother was sitting outside the NICU, looking at her baby. She didn't pay attention to the cameras or reporters. She had only one thought in her mind, will my baby call me mom? A reporter asked, how did you do it? How were you able to hold a dead baby for so long? She raised her head and said, sobbing, I didn't do anything. I just didn't stop loving him. Even if he wasn't moving, I knew he could hear me. I had faith that God would not break a mother's heart. Even the doctor was amazed. This is not a medical miracle. It's proof of the power of love. Science said he was dead, but his mother's heart said he was alive, and in the end, motherhood defeated death. Calls came to the hospital from all over the world. People wrote on social media that this story gave them faith in miracles again. That night, as she was watching her baby, she saw something. He slowly moved his head. It seemed like his eyes were trying to open for the first time. She was shocked. "Imran, look, he's trying to open his eyes." Imran was stunned. The doctors and nurses rushed in. Then that moment was printed as a picture in the newspapers. The headline read, "Baby who returned from death looks at his mother for the first time." After the baby tried to open his eyes, the doctors gathered in the operation theater. The baby's medical reports were laid out on the table. The medical equipment showing his heartbeat was also there. Friends, this child has returned from death, but his heart is still very weak. If we don't do an operation now to support his lungs and heart, we will lose him forever. A nurse said with a tremor, "Doctor, this is a dangerous operation. The baby is still very weak." The doctor looked at her and said, "I know, but we have no other way. We must try, or we will lose the miracle that happened before us." Outside, the mother and father waited anxiously. The doctor came out of the room and sat near the mother. "You have to make a difficult decision. Your baby needs an operation to protect his heart and lungs. But it's very dangerous." The mother's eyes filled with fear. She asked, "Will he lose his life again?" The doctor said, "Yes, but if we do nothing, his life cannot be saved." The mother put her face in her hands and cried. The father tried to console her. Then she looked at the doctor and said in a firm voice, "I brought him back from death. I won't let him go a second time. If necessary, I will give my life for him." The doctor was astonished by her courage. He went to the operation theater. Reporters outside were reporting on the operation. Time passed very slowly. She prayed with a book in her hand, crying outside the operation theater. The father prayed, looking at the door of the room. Finally, the door opened. The doctor was exhausted, but his eyes were filled with tears. He went to the mother and said, "The miracle is complete." She couldn't believe it. The doctor continued with a smile. "The operation was a success. His heart is now beating normally. His lungs are also working normally. He's a little warrior." She screamed with joy. The nurses applauded. The newspapers reported that the miracle had continued. The next morning, the doctors allowed her to go to the NICU. Her steps were trembling. Her heart was beating very fast. The door opened slowly. The sound of medical equipment filled the room. Her baby lay peacefully on the white bed. There was a small tube in his body to help him breathe. She couldn't hold back her sobs. She sat beside him. She slowly placed her hand and held his fingers. At that moment, his small eyes slowly opened. He looked at her face. She cried, "Thank you, God. My child, you came back to me." Unexpectedly, a scene that made everyone in the room cry happened. He raised his hand and placed it on her cheek. It was as if he was thanking her for the love she gave him. The nurses cried. The doctor said, "This is not a medical miracle. It's the power of motherhood that defeats death." A picture taken by a nurse at that moment spread all over the world. The mother holding the dead baby, and his hand touching his mother's face. People commented on social media, "Our tears did not stop. This story showed us the true meaning of love." From that day on, the baby became a symbol of hope in England and the world. His mother promised herself that she would only give her son love. Days after the operation, his health improved a lot. Many people came to see the baby in the NICU. People said he was a miracle child. One day, the doctor came to the room with a smile. "He has become strong enough to be moved to a regular room." She couldn't believe it. Global media came for their interviews. A channel asked, "The world wants to know about you, the mother of the baby who returned from death." One night, she was talking with her husband. Her husband said, "Today I received many calls from outside England. Doctors in Europe want to see our baby to study him further." She said, "No, I cannot let him go away from me. Let science call me for that." Then the doctor came there. He said, "Science can wait, but this child's heart cannot stay away from his mother." This is not just the story of one family. It's a story that gave hope to many families. This story had many challenges and victories. As they went through all that, the doctors realized that the child had health problems. When they thought about a solution, the doctors said the baby needed an operation or strong medicines. The mother's heart ached with fear. My baby cannot move away from me. I will continue this journey for him, no matter how hard it is. The father gave her all the support. We will fight together. We will not let fear rule us. The doctors were astonished by the mother's courage. They decided to perform the operation. On the day of the operation, she prayed a lot. The father prayed outside the operation theater. Time was moving very slowly. The doctors tried their best. They didn't want to lose that child. Finally, the doctors came out. The doctor was very tired but happy. The operation was a success. His heart is now beating normally. His lungs are also working normally. He is a real warrior. She hugged her husband and cried with joy. When his health improved, he was enrolled in school. But some kids made fun of him, talking about his health. But the mother and father encouraged him. You are not different. You are special. We will always be there for you. She went to his school and talked to the children and teachers to raise awareness. His story became famous on social media. Many people supported him. He and his mother, who faced all the challenges bravely, became an inspiration to everyone. The mother shared his story with the world through a blog. Her blog became famous all over the world. People supported her. Her story became an inspiration for all mothers. A television channel invited her for an interview. She said that her child came back to life only because her prayers were heard. His story became an inspiration for all mothers. When a child returned to life by a mother's love, his mother decided to fill his life with love. She now supports many children and their mothers. She wished them all the best. My story is not unique. Every child should get a chance, and it's our duty to give hope to the people around us. He went to school, studied, and developed his skills. He started interacting with other children. He became healthy and also started helping other children. He drew well. He drew pictures about his experiences. This helped his friends and teachers understand. He won many awards. Finally, he joined a university and he pursued his dream. He became a doctor and started helping other children. His parents were very proud of him. His story inspired many people. He is now a big doctor and his parents live in his house. One day his mother looked at him and said, "My child, you are the joy of my life. You know, you are my heartbeat." He is a doctor. He knows how to save a baby's life. His story is an inspiration to everyone.